Hello, Goddess. It's Andrea with You Are Mind, Body, Soul. Welcome to my channel. In this space, I guide goddesses to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as goddess alchemy. Come on in. I've got myself a glass of water here because it is a water kind of day. Get yourself something to drink. Find yourself in your comfortable, receptive space. Today, we are going to talk about what it means to lead a more feminine life and the importance of truly embracing your femininity. Before I get started and get deep into this topic, I want to remind you to please hit that like button if the sound of my voice is resonating with you and you resonate with this message. Please share with other goddesses so that they can receive this message just like you. And please remember to subscribe if it is your first time on this page. I am so happy to join you in this space and to be brought to a position where I am available to share my wisdom and my experience and just my truth with you. Are few things that are as beautiful and as impactful than when a woman is actually allowing herself to be witnessed, because it is our natural essence to be witnessed as divine women, and the divine masculine is the one that views and that watches. When we show up in this space and me just allowing myself to be seen and my voice to be heard, there's just something that is deeply satisfying about that. So I also want to encourage you to leave a comment below so that we can continue with this community engagement and interaction, and so that you too can also be witness for what you are receiving as we move through this message. So it's super important. I'm going to jump right in. And of course, I have my notes here. You know how we roll. Okay. We're going to start with the importance of living a more feminine life is number one, we want to start with the end in mind. So we want to begin with the end in mind. And it's easy to get caught up in thinking that, I feel like this society in this world has us thinking, well, YOLO, you only live once, and, you got to live it up. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I feel like that is so messed up, if that's something that we have been taught and programmed to believe, because my clap back to that is going to be, actually, we're infinite. Okay, so I don't know where this whole belief that you only live once, you know what I'm saying, like, that's not really true. We are infinite. Me personally, I have experienced multiple lifetimes. Okay, and that is the beauty of me choosing a feminine lifestyle, which I'm going to talk more about. I have been able to witness the fact that I have existed, my soul has existed through many lifetimes. I've been here before. I've had this conversation in different forms of myself, and I am just forwarding myself through these timelines and reincarnating back to share that wisdom, as I call forth and remember aspects of myself. Okay. So another thing is that, your 20s and your 30s do not necessarily have to be the prime of your life. I am 35, about to be 36, and I truly feel like my 40s, the decade of my 40s, is going to be one of the ripest years of my life. I have not even peaked yet. I don't think that I'm truly going to peak until I reach my 40s. Okay. And me personally, I treat my body like a temple because I know that I have so much life left in me to give. And when I finally do tap into the full expression of my divine and sacred purpose, when I reach that space of self actualization, I want to be hot. Okay, first of all, I want to look good. I want this whole thing to be rich and delicious. Like, I don't only want the wealth, I want to be physically wealthy, internally wealthy. I want to feel good. I want to look good. I want to be confident in my body. Okay. Please like this if you feel that and if you resonate with that truth. Okay. So as we age, just because naturally and hormonally things start to shift, it does not mean that we can no longer see ourselves as beautiful. Even if society, which really at this point has amounted to be mainstream media, does not accept a woman that is in her 20s as someone that is sought after or desired, it does not mean that we still cannot feel fruitful and beautiful and elegant within ourselves and with our own right. Okay. So I just want to say that because I feel like it needs to be expressed. You need to know that you are beautiful throughout all of your phases of life. Okay. However, as we do age, things start to change. And what I really want to focus in today is going to be our actual hormones and, and the process of stress, which comes specifically from leading a masculine driven life and the implications that that causes on our bodies, what the implications are for our aging process as women. Okay. So, hormonally speaking, as a woman ages and she gets closer to that menopausal phase, which it's going to vary for every woman because there are lots of women out here who are having babies in their 40s. Not to say that that's something that you should strive for or to say that that's something that I am striving for, but I just want to express that and to verbally state and to let it be known just all of these stigmas. Okay. There are lots of women that are out here, women of color, especially, who are having children at a much older age than what has been standardized by our society. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily, safe or appropriate or something that we should all be striving for, but it is a truth of the matter. Okay. Another stigma that I want to break down is that not each and every single woman wants to have children. Okay. If you don't want to have kids, I want you to know that that is perfectly fine. And I encourage you to find that self acceptance within yourself to truly embrace the fact and the truth that you don't want to have kids. Okay. And to own that truth within yourself and to not be afraid to admit that as a truth because society says that every woman's highest maxim is to be married and to produce children. Okay. So I want to dispel away with that. Okay. Furthermore, if you choose to be single and you are happy being single and independent, I want to validate that for you. If you want to be loved, protected, and provided for and spoiled by a man and to be someone's wife, I want to validate that for you. The point is that I want to validate for you whatever your desires are for yourself. And I want to encourage you to be clear and honest about your desires as a woman. And I want to encourage you to find the power within yourself to validate yourself without society's judgment being cast upon you. But whatever life path it is you choose for yourself, please let it be one where you are honoring your feminine energy and where you are not overworking yourself and running on a masculine paradigm, which is perpetuating a stressful lifestyle and stressful habits. Because at the end of the day, we are living in these feminine bodies that are governed by feminine hormones and processes, namely coming back to our hormonal system. So progesterone and estrogen are the two hormones. There are several other hormones that, contribute to the chemical cocktail that makes us that feminine body biologically. But the two that I want to focus in on for now are the progesterone and estrogen. Okay. When you are living a life where you are on hyperdrive, where you wake up and on a daily basis, you feel like you're just jumping out of bed and you're jumping right into that same hamster wheel day in and day out, as each and every season passes, when you are in that same speed and you're in that same cadence, that same rhythm, and you are not allowing yourself to slow down and to do the scary thing of slowing down and really assessing what are your feminine needs, what are your deep needs as a human being. Put being a woman to the side, but be as a human being, okay? I want you to know that you are really allowing the stress hormones of cortisol, which is a very masculine hormone that will masculinize your body in several ways. And you are doing an injustice to your feminine right of relaxing and living a life that supports vitality and living a life that is supportive, that should be supportive of self-compassion. Because what happens is when we live our lives through that masculine paradigm and in hyperdrive, and we try to keep up with men and we try to be that independent, I'm every woman is all in me kind of energy, okay, you wear yourself out. And what this specifically looks like is your hormonal system, your feminine hormones, progesterone specifically, is going to be used to produce cortisol, which is that stress hormone, okay? And progesterone is needed for our bodies to prepare our uterine lining to reproduce and to bring forth and to nurture a baby, a child, okay? So when you have an overabundance of cortisol in the body, instead of progesterone being used for fertility, it is now being signaled into stress hormones, masculine hormones, and just focusing on what that monthly rhythm of stress being perpetuated in the body looks like. Okay. I want you to think about what that means long term. Women that have less progesterone in their body and more cortisone in their body have a lot more hormonal issues. So you may find that you are spotting in the middle of the month. You may find that you are having issues with your joint health. Okay. You may find that you are having issues with anxiety as well as depression, because progesterone is a hormone that is supposed to help with depression. But now, instead of it being readily available, it is being signaled to produce as a precursor of cortisol. You now have less of an abundance of progesterone, which is already going to start to decrease once you get into your menopausal years, which again is unique to each and every woman based on the lifestyle that you are leading for yourself, whether or not it is more feminine than masculine, also coupled with your genetic background and what you have in your family line. Okay, it's going to be more difficult for you. Okay, and furthermore, when you have less progesterone, which is a byproduct of living a more stressful life, you are then going to have more estrogen in your body. Okay, and estrogen is important to bring that seed, that egg, into its fertile state. But when we have too much estrogen in our body, this is going to lead to certain cancers that are typically preventable through healthy and balanced lifestyles. So it is all about being balanced and being in harmony with your internal rhythms and with nature and those seasonal shifts and changes are all feminine traits. And it is not an airy fairy concept of, oh, I need to be balanced and one with nature. This is actual, real scientific stuff. It's not something that was just pulled down from out of nowhere. Okay. This stuff actually has scientific grounding and it has scientific basis. Okay. So I was reading some articles on the implication of long term stress. Okay. And when any type of human being, no matter whether you are a man or a woman, when you've undergone long-term stress in life and you have made this a normal process for yourself biologically, naturally, what it is going to do is it is going to decrease your overall frequency and put you into a place where you are automatically perceiving life from a low vibrational space. So a small issue, for example, that would be a small inconvenience for someone that is healthy and balanced, okay, and has a normal amount of stress level in their body. Some kind of issue that comes up, an unexpected issue, would simply be just a small thing that they process because they naturally have a higher level of perception of that issue versus it being something that is catastrophic. The person with less stress hormones in their body are already naturally perceiving the inconveniences of life as something that is less threatening versus someone that has had long-term stress. So when you have long-term stress in your body, you are automatically going to be perceiving life from a more challenging state. And things are just going to naturally feed back into that. So in previous videos, we have talked about the feedback loop of your dominant vibration and then how life is responding to you based on that. Please check out my older videos. I've got a lot of really great content on manifestation, on self-concept, and these types of things if you want to hear a little bit more about that. Okay. But it's super important because estrogen is the beauty hormone. So if your body is naturally dominated by stress, you're naturally going to look older than what you really should. Okay. And I don't know about you. I want to look good for a long time. So, just teaching yourself and training your body how to be less stressed out is going to make you look beautiful for a much longer time. Okay. So these are just some of the scientific facts that I want to share with you, just so that as we are moving through our divine feminine experience and we are being open to these creative perspectives of life, we're keeping ourselves grounded in the scientific facts. And this is just one tiny corridor of perception and understanding of our bodies that I'm choosing to share with you. But I do want to make it clear that there are neurological implications that are also associated with living a feminine life. There are spiritual inclinations and implementations that are associated with allowing yourself to live a more feminine life. Okay. It is a process and it is something that we have to program ourselves for. So it's also really important to start to think about what is good for your mind is also very good for your heart. And this is across multiple ends of the spectrum. So when you are, participating in lifestyle habits that are supportive of holding less stress in your body, okay, by controlling your environment, the quality of your psychological internal environment, you are also controlling the hormonal environment within you, and that is also going to affect your heart health. So the hormones that are hard and stressful for you as a woman are also going to be hard and stressful for you cardiovascularly. Okay, so these are both connected on a biological level. And then, so to relate this back to another more energetic realm, I want you to think of things as, am I using my head and my heart equally when it comes to making my decisions and finding my approaches in life to novel situations? Okay. And the best way to do this is to do the unspeakable thing that is just such a scary thing, which is allowing your heart to lead you. And again, I know it can sound so cliche, but really scientifically, from a scientific space, you really want to start to train yourself to be heart driven, heart space driven. Okay. Because the thing about the heart is the heart actually has a brain system of its own. So there is a autonomous neurological system within your heart space, okay, that sends electrical impulses way outside of your body. So your energetic body expands far further than your actual physical body. Okay, and this is the basis of psychic phenomenon and things like that. But our heart space is a portal that extends out far beyond us, which would account for certain connections like the connection between a mother and her child, and how mothers can intuitively feel when their children are in danger. Okay. Because there are just things that are relevant to our reality that, we just cannot always see, but you can feel it. And that is why, to have a more feminine life, you truly want to become in a balanced state with your heart space. Furthermore, if you really look at how the body is created, okay, and let's say we take it down this frontal plane here from the head, and then we move down this space, and then we move out into the arms and the belly and the womb and the legs. The heart space, that little area right below the heart and above the navel, that's the center of your body. So if you're allowing yourself to be moved and heart centered and heart focused and heart space aware, okay, when you have the wisdom and the skill of operating through that compassionate space, you are automatically leading a more harmonious and a more balanced life. Okay, so when you are fighting, when you find yourself torn between your head and your heart, I want you to do this quick visualization exercise with me. Okay, you're going to close your eyes and you're going to imagine that there are doors. There's a door in front of your heart center. Okay, and then there's a door in front of the center of your mind, the cerebral realm. And you're going to close the door that is in front of your brain. Okay, to close the door, lights out. And you're going to take a deep breath in, and you're going to open that door that is leading you into your heart. And then once you open that door, you are then going to ask that question. And then I want you to see what comes out of that door. Or when you step through that door, I want you to see what the answer to that question is when you step through that door. Okay, and then just breathe that in. Open your eyes. Have a sip of water. Okay, and then before the brain starts to jump online and starts to do its thing and interpret, just sit with what your heart has just shared with you. And this is how we allow ourselves to come online and to become more heart-centric, okay? So that we can really get to the work of what we came to do, rather than letting the brain be the dominating feature for all of our choices in life. Because when you are logicking your way through life, you are living on a masculine paradigm. And that is when all of these stressful symptoms start to show up, because we are not regulating life from a full and harmonious capacity. We are overutilizing the capacity for logic that we have only recently developed through the prefrontal cortex. Alrighty. So at the end of the day, we are souls. We are these huge infinite souls in these big ass adult bodies, carrying our inner childs forward, our inner children forward through this life, and raising ourselves and growing ourselves up the best that we know how. But the thing that I've learned through my spiritual journey and as my journey as a guide and as a coach is the more questions that I begin to ask about myself, the more tools that I have to color and to shape my reality. Okay. So with every step of self awareness and self learning and self discovery that you take within yourself, you have now developed yourself a brand new tool to which you can shape your reality and to which you can develop your self awareness. And this is super important because our life is only going to grow in congruency with the level of elevation that we have within ourselves. And for some of us, this is inherited. And for some of you, like me, you have had to go and you've had to figure these things out through trial and error, which I would recommend for everyone. But of course, when you can, learn those lessons from people that have already made those mistakes. Watch my videos, take notes, love yourself, okay? All righty. So self-awareness is going to come through psychosomatic coherence. So of course we do psychosomatic education here. We want that mind-body connection. And when you really start to get into your feminine energy and you start to find that activation, you're going to become very wise in your mind-body space, okay? You're going to start to be more familiar with what your body is telling you before your mind and your ego starts to color that. You're going to start to become more comfortable when you're taking your feminine journey with just allowing your emotions to be what they are before you go into psychoanalyzing yourself and trying to draw conclusions about what you are experiencing. When you really begin to surrender to your divine feminine mothering energy, self-mothering energy, you're truly going to allow your emotions to flow through you without having to govern them and control them and police them through the logical mind. This is very important because without this body-mind connection, we are unable to then shift ourselves energetically. And the only way to have that body-mind connection is to truly allow your body and your emotions to speak without having to control them, okay? And one of the best ways to develop psychosomatic coherence as a woman, it's simple, might not be easy, but it's definitely simple because we all work on a 28-day cycle, just like the moon when it comes to our moon cycles and our hormonal cycles at that baseline level. We have that 28-day spectrum that we get to work with. Okay. And what I want to encourage you to do is to develop a womb journal or a moon journal, which they can also, be both. You can have a womb and a moon journal. And I want you to start to chart your mood. And I want you to start to chart your openness to life along the lines of how creative do you feel? So start asking yourself, how creative do I feel? How motivated do I feel to get things done? How driven am I? How receptive am I? And you can write all these things down. You can pause them if you need, if you're really into the journaling exercises, and just get comfortable with asking yourself those questions. And then I want you to become aware with where you are in your own personal internal cycle, okay? How close you are to your moon cycle, right? And you're just going to start to become more self-aware, okay? And I want you to also be aware of where the moon is at your cycle, whether it's new or whether it's full, whether it's waxing or whether it's waning, okay? And this is powerful stuff. And so that way, you can really start to get into your feminine rhythm and deepen into a space of flow, okay? Because as the divine feminine, We want to be in a space where we are flowing. We never want to force anything as women. Of course, we want to use our power because we are powerful beings, but we never want to force. Okay. We always want to seek to flow. I can tell you from my personal experience that as an empath moving through life and being very psychic, when I was a baby psychic, when I was a baby witch, when I was younger, I used to always be inundated by other people's thoughts and emotions. And I found great challenge with this because it was so hard for me to tell what was my own and what was not. And when I started to get into this mind body connection through stillness in yoga and meditation in dance and quiet, I really started to be able to discern, to be able to have the strength of discernment of what was my own energy and what was others. And this is a feminine gift of empathy. Okay. When you are empathic, that is a very feminine trait. It's a gift, but it can also create a lot of challenge in your life if you're not taking the time to ground into your own personal vibration and to activate that full awareness. And the Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course is a super powerful course that is going to help you to cleanse your karmic cycles. And it's going to help you to really start to get into the essence of your identity. Okay, so that you can start to world build, because ultimately the macrocosm is the microcosm. So everything that you are is everything that you are going to witness and see in this reality. You are only going to see on the screen of your life, in this three-dimensional screen of reality, everything that you are. Okay. So life is going to have that essence, that scent, that flavor, that signature of life as you are perceiving it. Because the as above is the so below, as I say in pretty much every video. Okay. As within is without. And we build worlds, which we talk about in the Feminine Alchemy and Freedom Activator course, in the process of manifestation, by establishing our dominant vibration, because everything is running on that feedback loop. Okay. So the more you allow yourself to be ease into life, and you allow an easefulness within your internal world and not always forcing, the more that things are naturally going to happen for you. And being attractive is that feminine trait. It is a quality of magnifying and being magnetic. All you have to do is show up and be yourself. That's the only thing that you are obligated to in this life. And I know that that can be the hardest thing to do. And that's why I'm a coach, I'm a guide, because just being yourself can be so challenging, but it does not have to be when you just simply allow. Okay. Excuse me. So what we really want to get good at is self-regulation. Okay. Self-regulation of our thoughts. Okay, if you're always thinking negatively about things, chances are there are going to be a lot of negative instances of things happening in your life. If you don't think about things at all, if you don't precognate things, you're going to find yourself having a lot of unexpected surprises. So it's important to be journaling and having something to anchor yourself in, something to anchor your personal world in as a woman. And this is how you live that more feminine life, because when you are slowing down and you're allowing yourself to anchor, you're providing yourself with the time to be witnessed. You have to witness yourself. It's imperative, okay? So I want to encourage you to look at the video that I created on key rituals for goddesses, as well as the time management ritual. It talks a lot about how to shape your environment and how to find that internal cadence. Okay, so that you can level up. I think there's like a boss goddess video as well, time management for boss goddesses. Those are great videos that are going to help you with that environmental regulation. So again, because we're talking about the microcosm, also being the macrocosm, we want to be regulating our internal environment, okay, our internal thought processes and perceptions. And we want to be saying yes to things that align with us taking more time to breathe out and relax our nervous systems. Okay. We want to be relaxing our nervous system and making that a habit, making it a priority. No one else is going to prioritize your health or wellness aside from you. If you don't do it, no one's going to do it for you. Okay. You want to be setting up your home space for one that is in alignment with what it is you're trying to manifest. If you want to manifest more wealth in your life, you need to ask yourself, does my home space, does my inner environment, do I look at money in a healthy, wealthy way? Does my environment reflect one that is ready to receive wealth? Okay. Am I having that in my environment? Do I have things that remind me of that? And in the 14 Mind, Body, Soul Reset course, we are resetting our mind, body, and soul for abundance, feminine abundance, and wellness from a physical level, mental level, and spiritual level. And having a healthy environment that is in alignment with that, with our harmonious resonance, is one of the things that we talk about in that course. I suggest, I'm going to launch that. I'm going to relaunch it when I start the website in a couple months. Okay. The Academy. All right. So we also want to have boundaries with ourselves. So one form of boundary is going to be in the form of sleep hygiene. So before you go to sleep, being careful with the screens that you are watching, being careful with the things that you are exposing yourself to. When you go to sleep at night, is the last thing that you're being exposed to something that is totally irrelevant to your life path? Or are you giving yourself a little bit of time to check in with how you want your day to look like the following day? Processing, resting, and digesting over the day that you just had. These are all feminine approaches to life that we invest in ourselves that come back and pay us tenfold. Okay. Your greatest form of investment in yourself is going to be the time and the presence that you give into your body, right? I spent several years of my life in celibacy, investing in that time space realm of understanding what it means for me to be completely resonant with my feminine energy. And I had to give myself this time. So something as simple as having healthy sleep hygiene, putting that water next to your bed so when you wake up, you have something to drink. Just gifting yourself these small acts of devotion will also show up as setting healthy boundaries between your goddess self and the external world. Okay. Because when you're really conjuring and cultivating that goddess energy, you need that separation from what is going on with the world. Because again, in another previous video, I said that we want to create the environment. We don't want to be the product of the environment. We don't want to necessarily be the product that the environment needs. We want to be the creators of those new environments. Okay. And so just make sure you have that designated space where you can come into yourself and you can really fill up on your own energy and you can fill up your cup with that feminine energy. Because the more that you give yourself, the more that the world is going to open up and is going to want to give and pour into you, right? Because we are magnetizing these things. So magnetically speaking, you are putting yourself in a position where you are consistently receiving gentleness and compassion from yourself. You will start to find that other people will reflect the gentleness and compassion that you are showing yourself. This is just how magnetic resonance works. And please check out my video on divine feminine and divination. It's a really great video that talks about magnetic resonance and world building as well, if you're into that. Okay. So ultimately, all of these practices of self-awareness, psychosomatic education, and coherence, finding your personal feminine rhythm, learning how to self-regulate your inner and outer environment to the level of your ability, what that's going to do is it's going to decrease the inflammatory markers in your body that forces us to age more quickly. Okay, so inflammation is basically going to be that is basically how aging shows. So the more inflammation you have in your body, it's a reflector of the fact that you're aging, right? So you want to cut back anything that is creating inflammation in your physical body, anything that is creating creating inflammatory emotions for you. and anything that is attracting inflammatory situations for you. Okay, we want calmness, we want soothingness, and we want peace for that feminine life. We want that vibrancy, we want that beauty, we want that beauty from the inside out. You can't just paint it on your face and go and purchase it and get surgery for it. Like, this is what society is teaching women. And that's why I have this space. This is why we're in this temple. Drop a white heart below if you're still here with me. Okay. And this message is resonating for you. Okay. We want light bodies. We are feminine, energetic beings. We're not dense and heavy and programmable like society would like for us to be. We are beyond that. Okay. What else do I have here? Yeah, so we're decreasing those inflammatory markers because inflammatory markers, when you have a lot of inflammation in your body, okay, by way of your diet or or your habits, your environment, basically what you are doing is, through epigenetics, you are telling your body to upregulate those diseases that are running in your family. Okay. So we all have things that run in our family, because we're on the topic of longevity and feminine energy. We all have those things that run in our family, those health issues that run in our family. But the things that guarantees that you will also inherit that is your inflammatory markers in the form of stress, which is a toxin in and of itself, and other toxins that we put into our bodies. Okay. So we all get this sacred choice to live these longer lives and to live these softer lives. And if you feel like you are being governed by toxic choices, check out my video on shadow work. It's a dope video. It's a really, really good video. I had a great time creating that. Check that video out so that you can get a grip on those shadowy behaviors, and you can really start to step into the light of your soul's authentic essence. Okay. So the goal is that we want to upregulate those feel-good hormones, those feel-good neurotransmitters, serotonin, the dopamine, and we want to do these from healthy sources. We don't want cheap sources of serotonin and dopamine, those things that are just brief. We want to be the drug. Drop that heart below if you feel me. You are the drug, okay? You want to be the intoxicant. You don't want to be dependent on these intoxicants and these things outside of yourself. Check out that video on shadow work. It's so good. All right. Because you attract what you are. So if you are a highly stimulating woman to be around, a breath of fresh air, a peaceful entity to be around, that's what's going to happen in your life. That's what you're going to attract. So I hope that this video has inspired you to relax and to get into your feminine flow and to accept and to love your authentic self compassionately. That's all I have for you today. I'll catch you in the next one. One love. Mwah.